Ooh, I'm back! Bet you thought you'd see the last of me! You did it! So I just watched Fighter. And this is the video I'm really excited about because this is gonna be full of spoilers! Let's go! If you don't want to be spoiled, watch my other video where I dance around the spoilers. If you want to be spoiled and you want me to talk about the entire plot, this is the video for you! Anyway, if you're not a subscriber, that helps a whole bunch. It's just a click of a button right there below. You can also become one of our members and vote on what we watch next. But all in all, just interacting with the subscribe button is a huge help. Like, comment, all that jazz. We're going to get right into it. First off, I want to point out that when I watched this movie, it was so fun because this was probably the most crowded film that I have seen live. Also, it was IMAX and with 3D glasses. I can't tell you the last time I watched a movie where I had to have 3D glasses. And as you can tell, I'm not wearing my contacts today, so I just had to put them over. Um, I don't think that it's necessary to watch this movie in 3D. I really didn't notice any times where the 3D popped out to me. Really, the only time it did was when Deepika Padukone's character took a selfie. So, if you're worried about that, don't watch it however you'd like. Watch it however it's available to you. Seeing it in 3D, I don't think really changed the experience. Anyway, the theater I was in was actually pretty busy. There were several other people there, and everyone was really excited. Like, there were several scenes in the movie where people were cheering and clapping and laughing aloud, and I think it really helped me have a super great experience watching this. So, on my handy dandy phone, I was taking some notes, trying to be discreet about it. Let's get into it. So, this is about a crew in the Indian Air Force. They are brought together because they are the best pilots in India, and war is brewing with Pakistan, and they need to form a squadron, basically. So, Hrithik plays Patty, Deepika plays Minnie. Their commanding officer's name is Rocky, played by Anil Kapoor. And Taj, whose actor's name escapes me, sorry, is his best friend. And I thought, I've seen these movies. There's no way Taj is gonna live. But we'll get into that. um, they introduced the villain fairly early on, which I was grateful for because I've seen some movies where they don't introduce the villain till like halfway through, or they kind of like don't show him much. But the villain name is Fazar. Hopefully, I'm saying that right. Um, and he was just really cool headed until a certain point where he does lose his cool and really shows his villainous side. A very, very cool villain that I liked throughout the entire film, and I feel like the villain was super effective in this film. Um, there was this bit in this restaurant where they were talking about how Hrithik Roshan could just look at anybody and say please and smile and they'd give him anything. And he like they had like a whole montage music video where they were all becoming friends and he used it on some ladies in the restaurant. Give him their food. Like I know he's a charming guy and you can just melt into his eyes, but I am never gonna be giving my food to nobody, not even Hrithik Roshan. Thank you. That's my food. But it was really, really funny, really, really cute, and something that they touched on later in the movie, which was pretty satisfying. Um, so, of course, Rithik has had a traumatic experience where he had a fiance who passed away in the war. She was a chopper pilot, and he's kind of known for being reckless and dangerous, because he's the main guy. And he made a bad call, and she got hit, and she was down, and she died. And their commanding officer happens to be her brother. So there's a lot of beef there, and they don't reveal that till pretty later on. But you can see I think the tension between the commanding officer and Hrithik Roshan was really really well played. It was Patty and Rocky, because you can tell that Rocky just doesn't trust him, but you don't really know why. And then it's revealed at the end that he was gonna marry Rocky's sister, And I think that they played that super duper well. I think that the tension was there. And then at the end, they do team up and work together in the same fighter jet, and they kind of make up. I love that relationship. They portrayed it so well. I think Horrific has this amazing way of showing every kind of relationship between his best friend Taj and the tension with his commanding officer, and of course the romance with Deepika, who played Minnie, who was just really, really cool helicopter pilot. And even though she was super cool, she was also playful and funny, and she had a lot of depth to her. I have really a lot of good things to say about this movie. I'm easily entertained, and I it was great. Um, there was like this moment where there was this prolonged eye contact in the helicopter between Deepika and Hrithik, and then a music video happened, and I was like, okay, what? This has nothing to do with the movie. And then it was revealed that he was just imagining it, and I thought that was well done because they just really integrated the music with the movie in a way that fit. And it was all this tropical setting, and of course, they look amazing. Um, when when the title song happened, there was this gratuitous scene where Hrithik was taking a shower, and a woman in the audience in the movie theater literally like screamed and cheered, and then a bunch of people joined her. It was really funny. Um, there's a moment where he's waving the Indian flag, and a soldier on a train is waving it back. They also cheered for that. And any other time he took his shirt off, they were cheering. Um, it was really spirited and awesome, and it felt like I was a part of something being in that theater. Um, doo, 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 doo. Ooh, so to praise the director, Siddhartha Anand, they, I feel like he used some really effective methods of just directing and showing this film. There was like this scene with a suicide bomber who like rushed forward into a convoy and blew up and caused a lot of damage. And the way he set that up was by getting you like attached to these soldiers by like showing them getting along and having fun and talking with their families on the phone, like in a span of just a few minutes. You're like, oh man, I really love these people. And it was all just, blown to smithereens. There's another moment later in the film where one of the characters is tortured and killed by the main bad guy and sent back to India, and they show his parents imagining him coming home safely. And then through the door, instead of him coming home safely, in comes his casket. And I just think showing things like that was really effective in pushing the emotion forward. So kudos. That was great. The celebration song was so fun. So after the convoy happens, they and apparently this is based on like real life events that happened with war and whatnot. The fighter pilots bombed an enemy base, and then they celebrated afterwards in this music video song that was all them drinking and dancing and doing these like tiger hands. And the commanding officer showed up, and everyone was so excited. I thought that was great. It was like if I was watching this as just a normal React video, I wouldn't have known the meaning of him being there, because before he had like turned down hanging out with them, and then he was there celebrating. That was really, really well done. Hrithik Roshan, I love you. His acting in his eyes. I spoke about this in my other video, but a lot of this movie, because he's sitting in the pilot chair and he's got the whole like face mask on and everything, you could just see his eyes. And there's a moment where he's talking with the enemy fighter pilot whose name is Red Nose, and you can just see the absolute fear in his eyes when Red Nose like brings up his fiance and threatens his friends. Like it is so well done. Oh my goodness. Like that's hard to do. I mean, when your entire face is covered except for your eyes and that's all you have to work with. I he did an amazing job. And he's been doing it for years, so he knows what he's doing. Um, and they made him a flying instructor. So he there's an incident that happens when they're flying um against the enemy soldiers, and what his best friend Taj is gunned down and then lost on the Pakistani border. And so because of his recklessness, they demote him and make him a flying instructor. And I thought that was a really interesting montage. There's a scene where he helps a young student who happens to have the same nickname as his fiance that passed away. And you can just like really feel the pain in his reaction, and the entire moment he's there when he can't be really doing what he wants to do and helping his friends, even though he's a great teacher. I don't know. I could go on and on about how great Hrithik Roshan is. The nationalism in this film is super strong. Something that they repeated multiple times is that um, I'm, I can't remember the poem, but it was that a lover doesn't compare to the love one has for their country. Some coffins can be covered in diamonds, some can be covered in gold, but nothing is prettier than a coffin covered in the tricolored flag. And in one hand, it's really admirable, but on the other, it's like, wow, it's really intense. The love for your country, I couldn't do it. I guess I don't love America that much. Don't tell the CIA. But you can't help but to admire it and really, really want them to win. Um, Somehow through all of this, I'm not going to go into it, but Hrithik reunites Deepika with her parents, who had kind of disowned her when she decided that she wanted to join the Air Force instead of get married. That was probably the most emotional scene for me. Uh, and it really helped me to see Deepika's range as an actress. The woman who played her mom is like an expert crier. Um, and that was really good. I'm really glad that they included that in the movie because she talks about her parents pretty early on and about how they um pretty much left her alone. And so that was nice to see. I'm glad they included that. Um another moment where everybody in the audience cheered was at the very, very end. So everything's happening and explosions, and one of the characters who is kind of the comic relief is getting kicked around by the main bad guy, and then somehow Hero swoops in and grabs his foot while he's like stomping on his friend, and everybody in the audience in the movie theater started cheering, and he shouted the words uh Jai Hind. Hopefully I said that right. I looked it up. It was like Long Live India. And then everybody was like, yeah, let's go. And I was like, yeah, India, let's go. With them. Um and then of course there was a big clash between him and the bad guy. Bad guy loses. Everyone's happy. They kiss fall in love. And then they have a fun ending dancing song where Deepika looks amazing in these golden earrings. And yeah, that was the end. So essentially, fighter pilots, they go to war. Some people get captured. He falls from grace. He gets back up. He proves himself worthy. And he gets a really pretty lady out of it. Yeah, I love that the story was easy to follow, action packed. I don't think there was a moment where I was bored. The music was good. There were really nice moments of like lightness and fun and togetherness mixed with action. And yeah, I liked this one. I enjoyed Fighter. I don't think I've seen a movie that I haven't liked. I've definitely seen some I've liked more than others. But I would definitely recommend for people to go and watch this. Anyway, you can follow me on social media. It should be down in the link below. Like, comment, subscribe. I know that there was kind of some mixed feelings on this. Some people felt that the story was too generic and not original or exciting. Some people thought it was action-packed and fantastic. I don't think anybody can deny that the acting was pretty well executed. Um, I do think maybe there could have been more romantic tension. I don't know. But they didn't have the time for it. They were in war, you know? Anyway, thank you guys so much for tuning in. I hope that you get to go out and see Fighter. Um, yeah, great villain, great characters, and I'm excited to see the next one. Thanks, guys. Bye.